Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Friday, October 24th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown, so if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this would be a video for you. First off, a couple of quick clarifications. Number one, the candlestick that you see right there will be moving around and changing. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. Second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So ticker symbol number one, we are looking at BYND. Still a whole lot of people talking about it, although it has dropped off a little bit in regards to, kind of the amount of excitement. But right now we actually have a very interesting pattern. I'm going to get rid of that level right there. And let's just get this mapped into play here. So this area, I'm not trying to impress you. I'm not trying to imply that this is some sort of great discovery or anything. But you got to think a lot of people have drawn that resistance trend line right there. And when you have a lot of people watching the same levels and wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movement. So while I'm not saying that this will for sure without doubt happen, it is very plausible to think that the price comes up to that level and then breaks through it, that break right there could indeed create upside buying pressure. Again, no guarantees. All I'm saying is that is a valid question to throw out there as a possibility. If the price breaks through that level, does that generate a whole lot of upside pressure? Like I said, even if you just want to say, well, it's only happening because it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Well, regardless of why it happens, the fact of that it is happening is what ultimately matters most to traders. So keep an eye on that area of resistance right there. And then from a support standpoint, really two main levels to watch, in my opinion. That first key level, that purple line right there, 50-period moving average right now valid at, we'll call it 298. And then if that level can't quite hold up, no guarantees, but I don't think anybody would be shocked to see the price then visit that pink line down there, the 200-period moving average right now valued at $1.93. But yeah, I think the most interesting dynamic right now is all about that resistance trend line and whether or not the price can push back above it or not. Next one here, YYAI. Very rough day to day, not only because it was so red, but just from a technical standpoint. If you watched yesterday's video, it talked about this nice wedge formation that had formed. Now, to be fair, at least the market was polite. What do I mean by that? Well, something that would have been very not polite is had the price broken up, acted like it wanted to be strong, and then plummeted. That would have just been a savage move. But in this situation, not only did that not happen, but it just flat out gapped down. It just said from the get-go, yep, this pattern does not matter. We're gapping down, and we're going to open up right there. So like I said, it could have been way worse, but still a rough day nonetheless. So moving forward now, a couple of key levels. The main area from a resistance standpoint, in my mind, all about that purple line there, which you now know is that 50-period moving average. That was a key area of support, which you can see right there. And then just basic technical analysis, when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance, and that's what happened here. Price opened up below there, bounced back up, and not exactly, but very nearly, just a classic example of this support now behaving as resistance. So if there is any sort of attempted bounce up, right here at that area will be the main battleground to watch from the resistance side of things. In terms of areas of support, I would say a very important level to watch moving forward. Let's change that to green for support. Is going to be this level right here at 0.083. Reason why that one is, I will call it a do or die level. Is because if the price comes down here and then breaks down below it, what is that doing to the price at that point in time? That's literally putting the price right back inside of this range where it just was. Or in other words, that would imply that the price made an amazing move to then just go right back to where it started. Not exactly a sign of genuine strength. Again, I'm not saying that's what's going to occur, but that is why 0.083, very important level of support moving forward. Next one here, SCNX, and this is why I like to do these when the market is still open, because check it out, this thing is having a very impressive final 30 minutes. I mean, quite frankly, a very impressive late afternoon. And in many senses, not a whole lot I can talk about other than the fact of the ingredients are there for us as traders. What ingredients do we need? Well, first off, we need quality movement. In order to get quality movement, you need good, solid volume. So looking down here, great volume, but you also want to make sure that you're not getting all this volume and then the price barely budges. Wow, but that is not the case here. Again, as I speak, this thing is continuing to go to higher highs. So that's the ingredients. Great volume, great price movement. But other than that, it's just pretty much a wait and see. It's already broken out. So going into next, and I'm not saying this will occur, but just for an example, what do I mean by wait and see? Well, I don't know, maybe this thing all of a sudden decides to pull back a little bit. Well, in that situation, if the price pulled back, so you have a pullback here, and then you consider this big explosive move right there. Well, at that point, at least you'd have a bull flag pattern that you could potentially build a trade plan around. So I'm not saying a bull flag is occurring, because right now there's really nothing you can really do other than just watch the thing explode. But like I said, the main dynamic is that ingredients is there for Friday. quality volume, quality price movement. So if you like this price range, you definitely have the ingredients here for some potential interesting trading on Friday. Next one here, TSLL. Very, very crazy recovery when you think about the price not only gap down today, dropped to a low right there, and then from that point, just all the way up. Yeah, I state the obvious when I say a very impressive recovery, and now the price is approaching some pretty historic levels up here in terms of areas of resistance, and that's right here at about $21.10. Going through the history of things, you can see that general area rejected the price, rejected the price, rejected the price, and then even earlier today, rejected the price. Good news is the price very, very close to potentially doing battle with it again. So just because it's rejected all these previous times does not mean that it's for sure going to get rejected again. But it does suggest that, yes, if the price is going to be able to push up through that level, then the price is really going to have to bring it to A game, because 21.10, as I just showed, does have a very, very stubborn history here of acting as resistance. If there's any sort of pullbacks, ideally, you want to see that purple line hold, but if that level doesn't hold as support, then I'd say a even more important level would be that pink line there, the 200 period moving average. But as of right now, great momentum, knocking on the door of potentially doing battle with 21.10, so we'll see if the price can get the break up through there on Friday. Next one here, RGTI, and a couple of quick updates. The first key update is going to be about the importance of this level. Was a level of resistance in yesterday's video, but with the price now above it, basic technical analysis, when levels of resistance are broken and closed above, you want to see them act as support. And to give full credit where credit's due, beautiful example of that right here. Broke above it, came back down, found support, and then bounced once again. And this is what I'd call not a do or die level, but very important, because if the price comes down to $37.50 and then breaks below it, what is that doing to the price? Well, now all of a sudden the price is right back to where it was before the nice move upwards. And as I already explained, price movements that make a great move and then go back to where they were, not exactly a sign of any sort of longer-term genuine power. But like I said, so far so good. The price is doing a great job of holding above that area right there. And then in terms of areas of resistance, very straightforward. It's all about that purple line there, which I've talked about on the other charts, but here's an example of just how stubborn that level can tend to be. So you can see right there, rejected, tried again, and then rejected multiple candles in a row once more. So not saying that level can't be broken, but yes, very apparently the bulls are really going to need to bring their A game if they are going to be able to fight through there. Current value of that purple line right there at about $40.30. But all in all, nice movement today. It's staying above $37.50, so let's see if the price can continue to show those signs of progress moving forward. Real quick, I want to take a break and help you solve a very common problem that may pertain to you, and that is your desire to become a day trader, and day trading being defined as having unlimited day trades every day, but you can't because of the pattern day trading rule. Well, just realize there is an approach, there is a method out there that allows you to not need to have any sort of certain amounts of money, and then you can still be a day trader. And quite frankly, the market that this gives you access to moves way better than penny stocks or small caps anyways. I know that can sound crazy, and I know this can all sound a little too good to be true. What's the catch? So that's why I'm saying and inviting you to just swing by my live stream. I live stream Monday through Friday starting at 11 a.m. Eastern, then I go for a few hours. So if you want to see what I'm talking about here, because I put my money where my mouth is, this is what I'm doing, and you want to see it with your very own eyes, ask me any sort of questions, then definitely swing by the live stream and see it with your very own eyes. But yes, please don't think that you have to be stuck under the pattern day trend rule, because you absolutely do not. Next one here, we're looking at YDKG, and nice overall pattern here has formed. So let's just get this pattern drawn into play. So we have the top part of the pattern right here, that resistance area. We have the bottom part of the pattern right there, that support. And then just to make it a little bit easier to see, let's keep it all one color. So we have our resistance, we have our support, we have the nice upwards move there. And then for you golfers, try to make it a little bit more visual, put the golf hole down here, and we have a bull pennant pattern. Now, just because something's a bullish pattern does not mean that for sure, guaranteed, without doubt, that if the price, chops around here and then eventually comes out and breaks, that break's going to, produce upside buying pressure. But is that a valid question? Is that a valid scenario to throw out there as a suggestion? Absolutely. So if you like penny stocks, you like bull pennants, then here you go. Next one here, NVDA. Very, very nice move on this one. Got the bounce off this level that I talked about yesterday. Came up here, broke through that area of resistance. So as you now know, when levels of resistance are broken and closed above, you want to see them act as support. So moving forward, for the reasons discussed on some of these other charts, 180 is very important. Not because it's like do or die or anything like that, but if the price comes down here and then breaks down below, well, now all of a sudden you have right back to that problem where the price has gone right back to where it started, and that's just not what you want to see. But the good news here on NVIDIA is it's not even anywhere close to 180, but just in case it does pull back, keep an eye on that. The ideal level, I mean, if you say, Clay, what would make this chart look the absolute strongest moving forward? That would be if the price can continue to stay above that purple line right there, which you can see, good job there of holding that support. So currently valid, let's just call it 150 or 180, 150. But like I said, if the price falls below there, by no means is that game over, because you still do have that 180 mark, which I would argue matters way more. In terms of areas of resistance, main battleground to watch now, moving forward, going to be right there around the 183 mark. Going through the history of things, you can see that there is quite a track record of that area behaving as resistance. So keep a close eye on that here moving into Friday. Next one here, QBTS, and very similar to some of these other situations where you have nice movements, but then you want to see the price show some of those signs of progress, and you don't want to see the price, going quote unquote back to where it was. And in this situation, I would, consider that right there at the 28.50 mark. Again, I'm not saying this will occur, but if the price were to come down to this area and then, continue on down, all of a sudden the price is right back to where it was. So I don't want to be a broken record in that regard. You realize that's not exactly a good thing from a bullish standpoint. So 28.50, important for that reason. And then maybe you already know where I'm going to head next when I talk about resistance, because yeah, while this purple line here has made itself very, very apparent that this is where the sellers are currently hanging out. There's been multiple attempts to get up through that level and hasn't been able to quite do it. So yes, public enemy number one from the resistance standpoint, headed into next week, right there, currently valued at 31.80. Next one here, RIG, absolutely beast mode today, has continued to grind higher and higher. A little bit of a pullback here. Now, if you say, Clay, what would make this chart look the absolute strongest moving forward? That would be if the price can stay up there above $3.75. Now, let me be very clear. If the price falls below $3.75, I'm not saying game over, chart destroyed, nothing like that. All I'm saying is the price staying above there would be the best case scenario and make the chart look the healthiest. Now, taking a step back, looking at this from the bigger picture, that is where our purple line comes into play. You now know that 50-period simple moving average. Keyword being moving, so as time goes by, that line is going to move itself higher and higher. So it's basically going to serve as a trend line that draws itself for us. So from the overarching standpoint, as long as the price remains above the uptrending trend line, well then by definition, the price itself remains in an uptrend. So assuming you care about things just from the bigger picture point of view, then yes, preferably staying above 375 would be great. If not, just stay above that purple line and everything is still fine from the general trend. As far as areas of resistance, no need to overcomplicate this. Just ask a very basic question. Where did the party finally stop today? And the party finally stopped basically at $3.96. So nothing fancy behind that logic, other than that's just where the price eventually stopped going up. The sellers finally showed up and were strong enough there. So moving forward, $3.96 key resistance. But all in all, great looking trend. And as long as the price stays above that purple line, from the big picture standpoint, that is by far what matters most. Next one here, TSLA Tesla, and this will mean a little bit more to those of you that have watched past videos, but if you have, I've talked about this as a key area of support. I'm actually going to get rid of that. And I've talked about this up here as a key area of resistance. And surprise, surprise, like I said, I understand if you don't believe me, if you think I just put those lines there. I'm not offended, but the nice thing about these videos is you can just go back in the archive and watch a previous one, and you'll see me putting that level there. And I say that not to brag about myself, but yes, to brag about charts, because I think charts are a great tool that should be used. But you can see right here just the history of things. The price come up to 449 many times, and has the price has been getting rejected off that area. So yes, public enemy number one, 449 headed in the Friday. Good news here is that the price is just slightly below that level, so that doesn't guarantee that a break will happen, but it does make it quite plausible that a break could happen, because it's not like the price has to travel a big distance just to do battle. No, it's basically right here doing battle with it already. So keep an eye on 449 as that main battleground, and then in terms of areas of support, preferably speaking, staying above that purple line would be great. 50-period moving average. If not, then I'm still not going to call that a do or die level. But, if it could stay at minimum above the pink line, then you'd still have a very nice looking chart. But all in all, great recovery today on Tesla, knocking on the door 449. So we'll see if the bulls can push through or not. So that wraps up the top 10 list. Again, if you are sick and tired of the pattern day trading rule, maybe you just want a market that moves even better, smoother, more volatile than the current markets you're trading, but you don't want to risk a whole lot of money, then what I've been doing really is a great option to look into. But I understand, like I mentioned earlier, if this sounds all too good to be true, then come swing by the live stream, watch it with your very own eyes, and ask me any questions that you may have. So thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that like button, and yeah, hopefully I'll see you on the live stream.